Welcome back to Stock Talk Trades. I personally wouldn't be touching Ethereum right now. I love Ethereum, don't get me wrong, but right now, and I'll explain why I won't be touching it. We are on this bull run, but before we jump into it, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell so you guys can stay up to date. I post weekly videos, technical analysis, how-to videos. I think my channel can provide a lot of value to you guys, and Ethereum isn't looking too hot. Let me explain why. We're on the daily chart, and yes, Ethereum has been absolutely running from a low to the high. We're up around 105%. So if you're able to catch that over the past few months, great for you. If you're just holding, I think just hold. That's what I'm doing with my Ethereum. I'm just holding, but for trading purposes, I wouldn't be touching it. So we have a nice run with a consolidation. We don't, as I see, we don't really have too many upper wicks with really high volume. That would scream to me that we're at a selling climax and the big dogs and people are jumping out in the whales, but that's not happening, which is that's good. We broke out, but we don't have the volume. We just don't have the volume. I mean, with this doji candle, we have an increase in volume from the previous candle, which is good, increase in volume, but then the very next candle, this spread is absolutely huge compared to this previous candle, but there's not much increase in volume. This is telling me that, you know, there's not many sellers right now, but, you know, they could just be marking the price up, looking for you guys to get caught in a bull trap. And I'm going to cover this candle, but again, what I'm talking about, this candle, it hasn't closed yet, so this is not very validated, but let's go ahead and use this as reference. See, we have 9 hours and 40 minutes left on this candle, but we have half the volume. With about half the spread, maybe a little bit bigger. With half the volume, we see that we have decreasing in volume. With decreasing in volume, this is telling us that this trend is invalid. The volume is not matching the price action, therefore it's not validated. With the trend, we want to see increase in volume as we see an increase in price. That will validate the trend higher. And if we see a downtrend, let's say we're in a bull market, we want to see we have a run, a pullback to a nice bull flag. We want to see decreasing volume on this bull flag to validate that the trends are actually not, the trend downward is not validated. And it works the same way. We're moving upwards, but with decreasing volume. So that is telling me that this trend higher is not validated. I personally wouldn't touch Ethereum until around 3,300, maybe even a little bit lower, down to maybe 3,200. We'll have to find out what happens in the future. I mean, we have some resistance that we're going to hit our head on at around 3,600. We might touch that. Right now, we're finding resistance at 3,500, well, 3,550. So we'll see what happens with Ethereum. I don't want to see a double top. That's what I really don't want to see. What the worst thing that could happen here is if we see a nice daily candle with a really long wick to the upside and very high volume. That is indicating that sellers are now jumping into the market. The buyers brought it up, and then the big whales were jumping in to actually bring it down lower. We jumped over to the weekly chart, and we have a pretty nice bull flag, maybe bull pennant. It's not the best textbook setup, but it is a bull flag. Now we have an increase in spread with decreasing volume. There's our first sign that that's not validated. We have an increase in spread with lower volume than the previous spread, or the lower volume and with a larger spread. There's the alarm bells should be going off. We have 4 days left on this candle, so anything can happen still. This candle hasn't closed yet, so this volume price analysis only validates this right now. We could see a nice spike in volume. Anything can happen within the next 4 days of this weekly chart. And ideally, we want, with the next few weeks come up, we want to break this previous high, or we're going to make a double top and continue lower. We'll see what happens, because if we keep this low volume for the rest of the week, then I'm not bullish on Ethereum. Long term, I'm bullish on Ethereum, but short term, I expect it to come down to around the $2,500 range if we keep this volume, decreasing volume, to the upside. We do have slight support at around 2,700, but that's not really that's not the best. Let's go and look at the hourly chart. On the hourly chart, this kind of formation is not what we want to see. We don't want to see it kind of just moving up. In a bull flag, we have a nice run up, and then a bull flag is usually downward. But since we have just this price action moving up, slowly steady, I personally hate trading that, because you really don't know what's going to go, and it's just kind of chaotic. See, we're just along a lot of wicks, and we're just moving back and forth. You really don't know the price action. Either we can slowly die off to the downside, or to break this, we would absolutely have to rip and run and absolutely destroy. And yes, the crypto markets can do that, but not all the time. So I personally would stay away from Ethereum. We have some, again, light support around 3,500 or 3,450. Now we're zooming out, looking at the monthly chart for Ethereum. This is telling us a totally different story, which is awesome. Now our volume price analysis should work very well on this. We have a nice uptrend. We broke this previous high, came back and really retested it on this pullback, and that means we could continue to absolutely rip and run. Ethereum, we had an increasing volume on this doji candle. I'm not a huge fan of that, but again, the volume is high, but not ultra high. So that's warning bells, but that our volume price analysis is also pretty good. We have a nice pullback with decreasing volume, which is awesome. Then we have an increase in volume with an increase in spread. This is what we want to see. We have 29 days left on this candle. If we don't break this previous candle bar, and if we don't break, honestly, this previous high this month, we're going to come down even lower. I mean, we have room all the way down to $1,200, realistically. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear that, but I'm all about transparency for you guys. I don't want to tell you guys bullshit price targets. Oh, it's going up to 31,000. If we take the measurement from here to here, the Fibonacci retracement, we can see it come up even higher. We pulled back to the 61.8, and now we have room all the way higher. No, that's not what I'm about. And if we go ahead and even take a Fibonacci retracement or trend-based Fibonacci retracement, we have, honestly, again, this room, since we pulled back to that 61.8, it's a price target of 7,200. And that's not an unrealistic price target. And if we break this previous high, we have room up there. I believe we could absolutely rep and run, but it's all depending on this volume and if we break. Again, price action is basically a derivative of volume and what the buyers and sellers are doing. Volume really opens the markets to the inside of what's actually going on. If we see a price increase with decreasing in volume, we know that there's going to be a reversal soon. Again, here we have increase in volume. First, we have decreasing volume for these couple candles, and that's indicated a small pullback. Now, is this a small pullback? It could translate into a bigger pullback. We never know. We have to see what happens and see in the future. Again, 29 days left. We have a bunch of time left for this candle and for the rest, for this all to play out. I do believe there's going to be a altcoin season. Bitcoin is not going to Bitcoin does dominate the market at the moment. If Bitcoin goes down, most of the other coins go down, but I think we're going to transition from Bitcoin dominating to really all the coins are moving independently because they all have their own ecosystems and they all have their own, they're all providing value in some different way and they all have utility. Now let's go ahead and do a measure move to see if it really lines up with our Fibonacci retracements. We take from the high to the low. Go ahead and measure this. And then we move this up to these previous highs, and now that's just topping out around 7,200. So the Fibonacci retracements and this bull flag measurement is telling us that we could hit $7,200 if we break this previous high and if the volume comes in to support it. That is my price target right now for Ethereum if we are continuing to move up. If we don't, if we have decreasing in volume and just continuing this bull trap, we have room all the way down to 2,400. Maybe down to 3,000, but if we break 3,000, we're coming down to 2,400. So it can go either way. I'm going to give you guys price targets both ways again, because I'm not going to tell you guys some bullshit price target to get you guys to like the video. That is not what I'm about. I'm about transparency and actually giving you guys good value. Whether you like the video or not, I do really hope that you guys like the video. And if you do, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And I really appreciate it. Comment down below what you guys want to see next, what cryptos you guys want me to go over. And I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love y'all. Peace.